Hey guys, Coach Jen T here. So just a little bit on tracking your macros and the timing of tracking. So there are 3 different ways that you can actually track your food. I will say if you're eating a lot of snacks through the day and your meals aren't necessarily structured, it will be harder for you to track your food. So having like a structured routine on like having your 3 meals a day or 2 meals or whatever it might be, and then structuring in snacks will help you stay on track with logging your food. Now, if you're going to log your food, remember we do not dwell on perfection. So if you go to a party and you miss it because it's buffet style and you don't want to obsess over logging food. You want to stay relaxed with it. It's all about bringing awareness and collecting data of your own eating behaviors and your own patterns. Bringing awareness to that and what you're taking in helps you create positive change. If you find yourself self-obsessing over it, then it can get a little bit discouraging, so to speak. And that makes people quit because it feels too overwhelming. So what you want to do is go into macro tracking and tracking your food in general with a more relaxed approach. We talked about downloading the Macros First app, which allows you to focus on your protein, your carbohydrates, and your fats. If you're in the program that's 6 weeks starting on November 8th, then you get customized targets based on your body composition and goals, versus using something like MyFitnessPal and solely focusing on how many calories you're taking in, because that can create that obsessive behavior of like thinking too much about this has too many calories and that doesn't, when we want to focus on more whole quality foods, but also the flexibility of adding the treats in, adding the donut that you want, the bagel, whatever it might be, those special things that your grandmother makes at Thanksgiving, making all of those things work for you. Will help. So tracking macros can truly help if you just let go of the guilt when you go over your macronutrient targets, or when you just take a day off from tracking because you don't feel like it. Even if you track 80% of the time, you're still going to get 80% of the results that you're looking for. That being said, we are going to just go over the 3 ways that you can time tracking your food, right? So one way to track your food and stay on track is by logging your food that you plan on taking in ahead of time. So for example, the day before or the morning of, take a look at what you have in your fridge and your cupboards and try to plan out your meals, and you can track that stuff ahead of time and prepare your meals so that when the time comes to have your meal, it takes the thinking right out of it and you don't even need to think about what you're going to have because it's already planned out. That is number 1. That's the first way to track your macros. The second way to track your macros, and we had visitors. So second way to track your macros as far as timing goes is tracking as you're putting your food together. So if you're putting your meal together and you're having chicken, you're sitting at your phone and you're adding chicken, and then you're adding whatever else you might be throwing together. This tends to work well for people that don't have distractions while they're making meals, but a lot of times in reality, especially as a busy mom like myself, tracking as I'm going sometimes works for certain meals, like maybe breakfast. But if I'm at dinner and I'm making dinner with my family, I find that it's not worth being distracted on my phone to try to log my food. So just paying attention to tracking when it works for you, right? The third way to track your food as far as timing goes is just to simply be mindful of what you're taking in. Sometimes what works for my clients and me even is just jotting what you're eating down, including estimated portion sizes to the best of your ability on a piece of paper. Just simply logging everything on paper, and then including, whatever you might have later in the day, in the afternoon. And then when you get free time in the evening, you can go through and remember what you ate, and then you can log everything at the end of the day very quickly. Even if you're overestimating a little bit, that's okay, but it gives you a general idea of where you stand at the end of your day. And that seems to work for me best because I do tend to write stuff down if I have time, or I only eat 3 meals a day, so I'm very conscious about what I'm eating at those meals, and doing the best I can. But like I said, sometimes you might take a day off It does not need to be perfect to still make progress. So those are the 3 ways that you can time tracking your meals. You don't need to pick one way or the other, just kind of making it work for you and keeping things consistent but not perfect. So again, log things ahead of time. That seems to work well for people that don't need to think about what they're going to eat up at the point when it's time to enjoy a meal. The second is just to track things while you're putting together your meal. And then the last way is to track your food at the end of the day, as long as you're being mindful and remembering, even if you have to write it on paper, what you're actually eating for the day. So those are the 3 ways to track your meals as far as timing goes. And again, we are not working on perfection here. What the problem with when people start tracking macros is they get overwhelmed because they think they need to do it perfectly and to the T, to the gram of protein, and that's not the case. It's all about collecting data. You might one day look at your day and be like, whoa, I'm eating way too many grams of fat in a day, which puts me way over my calories because 1 gram of fat is 9 calories. So it's very calorie dense. So paying attention to trying to get within your targets to the best of your ability when you can in your given life circumstance and situation will help you stay on track without needing to be perfect. The key is just to stay consistent, keep in touch with your coach. Even if you take a week off from tracking, still keep in touch with your coach and focus on those basic habits that work well for you, such as being mindful, eating slowly, drinking enough water, all of the things that help us feel our best. I hope you guys have a good day.